to was it not last week? Last week was Thanksgiving. The week before last, building out a very simple to do app with Harper. So last week or the week prior, if you weren't here for the last live stream, I'll do a quick overview of what exactly went on. So pretty much a TLDW, too long or didn't watch. So essentially, on the last live stream that we had, we ended up creating this application. The I also did some changes, by the way, too, off stream, just to streamline this a bit more. But essentially, what ended up happening is on the last live stream, we ended up creating our Vite application. This is just Vite and TypeScript. So we installed that. We also installed Harper via Harper. If you go to harper.fast, we went ahead and went through the installation process as well. So we installed Harper into our local machine or onto our local dev environment. And then afterwards, we then started to, inside our application, we created our configuration file. And in Harper, if you're unfamiliar with what the configuration file is, this allows us to be able to essentially configure our application. So in other words, identifying where our schema is, and the name of that file or files, the resource, which the JS or the resource, which is essentially what we're not using this time around. Next live stream, we'll probably have some fun with this and do some things with the resources.js. And then also where the deployment, like where the like where our deployed files are. So in Vite by default, we use the dist. Well, by default in Vite, it is a dist, so the dist folder. So when you do I think what npm run build in Vite, it builds to the dist folder. And we also added a star star. That way it recursively gets everything that is deployed, not just top level when you just do star. Next up, after we did that, we defined our resources.js. And then after that, we actually went ahead and defined our schema. So for this to-do app, if you all are unfamiliar with this, we use GraphQL for our schema. And within this, we do several things. So as you can see here, we define the table, and we also define the attributes for that table. So for example, the name of this table in this schema that we're using that that we interact with is to-do list. So we have the type to-do list, and that is the name of the table. And over here are our attributes that reside within the table. So we have ID, status, and description. For ID particularly, we throughout our application, you'll see that we don't really reference that in terms of when we create data. It's because Harper itself can handle that for us. And then last but not least, we use the at export. Now, a lot of you may not be familiar with at export, but at exports allows for the table itself to be exported. In other words, to automatically have API, REST API endpoints generated for you. So sort of what does that look like? Now, what I have here is I am doing, like, again, Harper run. I'm running Harper locally. So if we go to localhost 9925, we log in, and we see here that this is the Harper to-do app that we have locally. We actually ended up deploying this. If we go ahead and take a look at, let's say here, the database, while there are no results here particularly, you'll see that we do have the table to-do list. Wonderful. And then we also have, like, again, those attributes there that we have, the ID, the description, and status. So that's all there. If we wanted to, again, we could import data. We can also create new data as well. So status, let's say active, and then description, I'll just say test to do, right? Or better yet, complete to do app. And right there is, again, now we have that record there, we've generated it, and that's wonderful. We see that we've, again, created this schema. We ended up deploying this application using Harper deploy. To see how that works, I can easily do that right now. I'll crack open another terminal. I have way too many. And then if we do a Harper, we'll do a npm run build. Oh, give me 1 second. I've got to actually For the time being, we'll do, because this is necessary, we'll do a TS ignore. Ooh, okay. And my keyboard is not up. Ah, my keyboard died. Ah, no. Give me 1 second. Da, 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 da. And this should hopefully work. Give me 1 moment. Keyboard happened to die midstream. Huh, what are the odds? It's just funny. Absolutely hilarious. And I will be right back, lovely folks. And we are back. Hoping this works. Let's try this. And all right. Now we should be good, hopefully. No more technical difficulties, hopefully. Um, and I think we may have just encountered another one. It's all funny. When you're streaming, things happen. And give me 1 second. I guess I have to fix my display because I cannot see anything currently, which is interesting. So give me 1 second, y'all. I apologize. Okay. All right. Hopefully things are good now. Okay. So many technical difficulties. It just, man, it's like testing live in production. Okay, now that we have this, we're back. And at this point, what I'm going to do is we are, let's see here, and sweet. Yeah. So essentially what we have here is, as stated before, where we left off before all the technical difficulties. We ended up having this, again, we created this record, and this is great, right? We've created our schema. We did a Harper deploy, but at this point with the Harper deploy, I'm going to just go ahead and do some TS ignore. So TS ignores for the time being, because what we're doing here will be essentially relevant. So while yes, it's not initially ideal to do this, for the sake of this, we are going to go ahead and ignore these errors for the time being because this will be part of the rest of it. So we've built this, and after building our app, we'll do a Harper deploy, which will then deploy it locally for us to update things such as the schema, uh, everything that we need. But also, yeah, so it's all there essentially. So if we look at apps, we have the most updated version. Uh, but then afterwards, again, we kind of created this record, we created this table, the at export. Now, if you don't remember from the last recording, if you didn't watch it, at export automatically generates the REST API endpoints. If we take a look here and we go to the screen or the APIs tab, which is here within Studio, you'll see that for that to-do list table, all of the REST API endpoints necessary for us to interact with the table and also the records is there. If we wanted to get a specific record, right, we can get a specific record by its ID. We can do exactly that. If we wanted to update a record, we can use a put or even delete a record. Now, if we want to delete the table itself, that means that, or delete the, delete everything, that is possible as well too. Um, or we can get specific properties or specific things from from the to-do list, right, from those records as well. And so all of that here has been dynamically just dynamically generated for us all. And so that is essentially what the at export does. Now, is it just REST? We can use REST. If we again do some more work here, it could also be real-time data, and other things as well too. But for now, again, for simplicity's sake, the example is going to be REST. Now that we have that, let's go back into our application. Now, how do we interact with those REST endpoints? Well, we're running Harper locally, and we see that we can go ahead and fetch that stuff. We can fetch our data locally as well too. Again, Harper run. These API endpoints are here. We can use localhost 9926 actually. So if we take a look here, and I actually go to Veet for the sake also of simplicity, we actually make an API call to, let's say, certain things like rendering it, or better yet, let's scroll up and let's fetch the to-do list. We say, hey, fetch slash API slash to-do list. The API itself actually is a server, it's a proxy. So for whenever we do slash API inside any of our requests, essentially it's pointing to just localhost 9926. Did this for just, reducing repetitiveness, simplicity. And so, yeah, so in our API call, whenever we do a slash API, we are essentially calling localhost 9926, and then we do a slash to-do list slash at the very end. And that calls all of the data from that table, which, as you see here, we have back here one item. So if we refresh and we take a look, better yet, we didn't have to refresh. If we take a look here, we'll see that that complete to-do app is there. We also, not only did we fetch data, we were also able to add data. So if I take a look and I do another, let's see, complete to-do app, we'll say deploy. We added the feature to be able to add that as well. And we called the add to-do list endpoint as well too, and everything. And yep, yes. So if we take a look here, add to do item, and we see that the add API again slash API slash to do list, and for the JSON again, we go ahead and send that data post request to the actual table itself. We add a description, which is the to-do text, which is right here, and also set the status by default to active because that is an active to-do. We did not define an ID because we were letting Harper handle that for us. Harper can generate dynamic or can dynamically generate IDs for us. And so again, having Harper handle that, fantastic. We also did the same thing as well with changing the status of the to-do, whether it's active or complete. So complete it. So if we take a look here, we check this complete to-do app. Again, we have that sort of nice cross off and everything like that. It crosses that, and then as well, it actually makes a call to the back end, and it also, if we refresh this as well, let's do this, and we take a look, we actually end up sending that payload. So hey, status back to active, we send that to the backend, and our UI refreshes as well. So that's that. So now that we have that, and give me one moment. Now that we have that, we've added a to do. We've been able to complete the to do as well. Let's go ahead, and what I'm going to do now is let's actually start with editing it. So why don't we go ahead and edit a to do? Now, to do that, what we're going to do here is, let's see here, we are going to go to, let's see, we are going to go here. So what I have here is that I have this edit. And within this edit, we essentially have an ID, toggle update to do. And then we pass in the item.id. That item, or is the essentially the to do ID itself. Now, this is dynamically generated. Again, we create this template, this list item template. And under these, we're essentially appending like event listeners. So we listen to that change, as you see here, the parsed to-do list item. Again, we parse it back into the DOM. We say, hey, we're going to listen for a change, and then we call this change to do status. For us, the next thing we need to do is that we need to add an event listener to update the to-do description. So what we're going to do here is that we're going to say parsed to do item dot query selector. And here is the fun. So we're going to choose the, we're going to choose, let's see, that's check, that's toggle update to do item. Let's go back here. If you heard anything in the background, that is my dog attempting to break into the office again to get my attention. And essentially, we're going to do this. So toggle update, to, or yep, not toggle update to do, my apologies. Yep, toggle update to do, yep, so edit. So we're going to toggle that, or better yet, we'll just say, make it even simpler, update to do item. We'll do exactly that right there. Give me a moment here. Let's go back here. And let's see here. We are going to do this. And we are going to paste that here. And we're going to save that. And let's see here. Give me one moment. Let's see here. And so we're going to update the to-do item. And then once we do that, we're editing. And then let's see here. Now that we have that, we're going to look for an event listener. So add event listener. And for this event listener particularly, what we're going to do here is we're going to wait for a click event. And we are going to do this. We're going to create that click event. And within this click event, we're going to do several things. So for the sake of brevity, what I'm going to do actually is that I'm just going to create a prompt. So I'll call this the new to do description. And this is just, we're going to call the prompt the window.prompt essentially. And so we're going to say, hey, edit or update to do description. And then from here, what we're going to do here is that we're going to update the item.description. And we're going to take that. That's essentially what's going to be passed in. And then from here, afterwards, once this prompt is called, we want to check several things. Well, we're going to say, hey, if the new to do description, we got to make sure, like, hey, make sure it's not null. Hey, if it's not null, and also if the new to do description isn't if it isn't empty, if the prompt isn't empty, then I want to go ahead and I want to call our, I think it was update. Let's take a look here. Yep, update to do description function. Okay. And this is where we're going to make fetch or make that API call to essentially update it, make that put request to update it in the backend as well. So what we'll do here is back over here as we stated, this update to do description, we're going to pass in the two things. Now, if we take a look back, let's take a look at our put call that we see here for the to-do list. We need the ID, right? And so two things that we're going to actually need. We're actually going to need the ID specifically to target, say, hey, this is the specific to do that we're needing to update. And then also the to do description. So we'll say for this to do, it'll be the item.id and then the new to do description. And then we're also going to trim it as well. And then we'll go down here. And for our function, we'll say, hey, the first one, again, that should ID going to be a string. And the second one, we'll just say the updated description is also going to be a string. And so now that we have that, at this point, this is where we're going to make our API call. Now, within this, we are going to, let's see here. We are going to go ahead and make a fetch request or fetch call on like our, to our backend. So we'll do /API / to-do list / it is going to be the, what is it? The ID. So now that we have that, we're now going to, at that point, we're making a fetch request there. Now the method that we're going to be doing is a put. And then the headers, again, should just be very similar to this, honestly. So I'll just go ahead and just copy and paste this here. Again, same thing. It is JSON that we're passing through. And then for the body itself, what we're going to do here is that we're going to do a JSON .stringify. And for this JSON stringify, we're going to pass two things. We're going to pass the description. And if I can not typo, stringify, and that is the updated description. And then let's see here. So that's our updated description for this. And then also the status, which is going to be our to do. In fact, we should create a third parameter. So we have ID. We should just pass the entirety of it, honestly. Now that I think about it, let's go back here and let's actually just go ahead and pass in everything actually. So what I'm going to do here, actually, just again, refactoring on the fly real quick, just thinking about this. Yeah, we're just going to pass in. Yeah, we'll pass in instead of item ID. Well, we could pass that. In fact, let's just go ahead and do this. So, or we could create a new object that essentially has the updated information. But for now, I'll just do item.status. Not the most ideal to have a third param, but for the sake of this, just gonna do this. Just so we don't have to do another. I'm thinking of doing either not a filter, but a find. And so here, we'll just add another one, which is the status. And we'll just make that a string as well too. And so that'll be that. So we'll have this here. So we'll save this. So we have this, we have our body, our description here, and we should, let's see here, this should work. So let's take a look here. I feel like I might be missing something. No, nope, looking good. Okay. And go and try this out real quick. So if we click this edit here, complete to-do app, let's just say we'll update this to finish, finish edit to do. Press enter. Okay, so we did not. That was no bueno. And so it failed to, let's get, okay, all right. Let's take a look here. Yeah, so did something a little bit no bueno here. So let me actually look at this await here. We're fetching it. We fetch this. We've taken a look here. Boom. Method headers is that. Our body. Oh, and I've actually disabled Copilot too because I didn't want to use it. Let's go ahead and take a look at, just to not stringify, description is going to be the, I think I may have, it's just going to be the updated description as well here. And I think I just did something really funky. So I'm actually just going to go ahead and edit this again. Update it. Let's say fix, edit. Sweet, fix edit. All right, that works. So now that we've successfully made that call, you'll see that we've passed the description and also the status as well. That's all there. So go ahead and fix. Yep, so that's there. We've now officially updated our to-do description. Now that we've updated our to-do description, the next thing that we're wanting to do now is let's actually go ahead and delete our item. So what we're going to do here is we're going to do the same thing as before. What we'll do is for each list item, again, since that's being rendered, we're actually going to add that event listener down here. So we'll say, hey, parsed to-do list item dot query selector, and we are going to go ahead and select. Let's see here. Let's take that delete button, and we are going to grab this ID. And then from there, what we'll do is we'll say, hey, all right, now that we have this, again, we expect it, it's not going to be null. We'll listen for a click event. And for that, we want to add an event listener. We'll listen to this click event here. And then within this click event, what we'll want to do is we're going to want to trigger the whole, I think it was the delete to do, I think I copied. Oh, well, let me go back down here and let's take a look. Delete to do. And now that that's the case, we'll pass in the item.id. So that's all we need to pass in for this one. If we take a look back at our APIs here, you'll see that in order for us to delete an item, really all we need is just that particularly, just the ID itself. And then pass in the method that we'll be using is delete, and we'll be good. So if we take a look here, let's go back to our delete to do, and let's go ahead and make that API call. This one's going to be very, very similar, but even shorter. So if we take a look and we go here, let's see here. So we'll just do a simple await again. We'll fetch. We'll do a /API /to-do list. And the method that we're using here, again, because we're deleting that specific record or to-do item, that delete, we're going to say, hey, we want to delete it. And then do we need a response or anything like that? Absolutely. Or do we need a body? No, actually, all we need right now at that point is just, I think the headers is going to be, again, same thing, application JSON, and then response. I think what response.json, but I think if anything, it'll just be a Boolean value, if I'm not mistaken, pretty much saying like, hey, it was deleted. So this essentially may just end up being unnecessary, just thinking off the top of my head, specifically this last bit. But we have that. And now if we take a look here, we try deleting this. We have deleted everything. And that is not good. Oh, well, that would explain it. I did not define an ID. So I deleted the entire list, which is nice. That's like a delete all. But let's see, testing, and we'll do testing again. I know I had several of these from the last live stream, and we click delete, and now we've officially deleted that specific. Yeah, see, true. Boom. That's what we get in return. Um, yeah, and then we re-render, we refetch, and we re-render. We get a fresh, fresh version of our to do our items. And if we take a look on the back end as well, we go to our database. You'll see that that also is being updated as well. So if we go back to our application, we decide to do a let's see testing. Let's do um, finish delete delete feature, and we go to our database, we go to our backend here, and we see that that is reflected there. Um, and so this is all, again, we're able to simply add, update, delete, uh, and yeah, uh, everything within our application. And what I'll do now is I'm going to remove the TS ignores that I temporarily placed. There shouldn't be any more. Let me do TS ignore. Yep, none here. And we've successfully completed our application. Now, towards the tail end, again, I'll make sure to post the repo as well. But if we also, some sort of added functionality, if you all want to take a moment and sort of play around with Harper, again, I'll make sure to post the repository in our GitHub and everything. And so that'll all be there. Yeah, if you want to go ahead and play around with this, just a simple, or a fun challenge is to take these filter buttons that we have here, the filter all, filter active, and filter completed button, and these are all being filtered client side. I want you to go ahead and filter or make these filter buttons essentially be filtered via the from directly from our backend, like using the APIs that we have. So not from the front end, essentially from the back end, right? From the server. So get fresh data, like filtered data. So anything that has the status of completed, you want to retrieve that data from the server. Same thing for active as well. So if we take a look here, if I click active or complete it or anything along those lines, we take a look, let's refresh, we take a look at active, let's take a look at complete it. That's all there. Yeah, it'd be great to actually have this again filtered based upon the data that's from the server. So that is my yeah, that is my challenge for you all, and I hope that you all enjoy this nice, relatively what 30 a quick minute a quick live stream. That wasn't too bad. This was fun. So if you have any questions, please reach out to me. Join our Discord. So if you haven't already, join the Harper Discord. A link to that is also within the, if we go to Harper Fast, we go to our website, we can take a look here and we can see that that is, uh, it is, it is all here. I think it's at the very bottom. So Discord, boom. So if you want to join our Discord, please join the Discord. We're all really nice, and ask away all of your questions. Just ask any questions that you have. And yeah, as I said, hope you all enjoyed and have a phenomenal rest of the day.